welcome to Worksheet 18 Help. Today we're going to review some stuff that we did last week and do some more fun new stuff. Fun. I think it's fun. It's fun, right? Isn't this fun? Learning stuff? It's fun. Okay, so I think it's fun. So we're going to go back to this piano keyboard that we started with last week on lesson 17. And again, it says, circle the sets of naturally occurring half steps on the piano keyboard. Hint, they're the white keys that touch each other. So a reminder that half steps is the smallest distance in music. They can't get smaller than that. So two keys that are touching each other like that, that's a half step. Okay. Notes that have a black key between them, it would be a half step from C to this black key, or from this black key to this one, and two halves make a whole. So like from C to D, that would be a whole step. Okay, so naturally occurring half steps, just these white keys, all the white keys are naturals, all the black keys will be sharps and flats. I explained it more last week if you want to go get a review of that. Question number 2, describe how half and whole steps look on your instrument. Okay, so a half step, let's see where it's over here. For violins, okay, so we did these a while back. So for violins and violas, it's a half step between second and third finger where your fingertips are, okay? It's a whole step between first and second finger. So that might be something that you'd want to write. Half step is the smallest distance between two notes, yes. Distance. So like you could say between second and third finger. That's what it would look like on your instrument. And a whole step would be the different distance. I need more coffee between 1 and 2. Okay. A whole step would be between first and second finger. All right, so that's how it would work for violins and violas. For cellos, all your fingers are half steps apart, okay? So it's a half step from third to fourth, from second to third, from first to second. Any of those would be fine. Half step is the smallest distance. So there's not going to ever be another note in between these fingers. That's as close as the notes get. So just as a half step would be between 3 and 4, 2 and 3, or 1 and 2, you could say a whole step would be twice that. So it's a whole step from first to third finger, and it's a whole step from second to fourth finger, because that would be 2 half steps. Okay? And then for bass, our half steps are even further apart because the instrument's much larger. So it's a half step from first to second finger, or from second to fourth finger. We don't use this finger for a very, very, very long time. It's just going to be a helper to 4. So 2 to 4 is a half step, 1 to 2 is a half step. It's a whole step between your first finger and your fourth finger. 2 halves make a whole. I know, right? So it's huge. So a bass whole step is this big, whereas a cello whole step would be like that big, and a violin whole step would be that big. So it totally depends on the size of your instrument. So then we can give 2 examples of notes that are a whole step apart. Now you can either be thinking about your instrument, or you can look up here. Either one's totally fine. So let's say you're thinking about your instrument and you're like, okay, well, it's a whole step between, let's say for violins, it's a whole step from first to second finger. So that would be E to F sharp, or on the A string it would be B and C sharp, for example. There are so many answers, I'm not going to get them all. Notes that are half step apart. So if we want to go by the same examples, F sharp and G are a half step apart, as are C sharp and D. Okay, and we're going to learn how to do that on the piano keyboard as well. So if you wanted to do half steps apart, you could just do the E and F, B and C, or you could do C to D as a whole step, G to A as a whole step, A to B as a whole step, because there's another black key in there. All right, lots more to come on that in subsequent weeks. Question number 5, draw the following notes onto the music staff, then write in the note names on the line below. This is totally what we've been doing. The only difference is that now that we're learning G string, it's G string notes! Yay! I know, you're not excited, but I'll be excited for you. Okay, so 0 fingers on the D string is D. 0 fingers on the G string is G. And violins, you get to practice making ledger lines now. You're so lucky. The violas, cellos, and basses will not be sympathetic, though, because they've been doing it this whole time. All right, so that's a D. Obviously, 0 fingers on the G string is a G. All right, 2 fingers on the G string. I don't know what that is. Alrighty, so G is 0. In the musical alphabet, what comes after G? A does, so that would be first finger. And then the next note, 2 fingers, would be a B. Okay? And B looks like this for the violins. Cellos, basses, and violas, it's all within your staff, so good burritos for the cellos. For the violas, it's good boys. It's all within your staff, so the violins are going to be having the hardest time here. 0 fingers on the G string, again, is G, so you're going to draw 2 ledger lines. We're going to be a little squished. And then it's on the space underneath that. 3 fingers on the G. G, A, B, C is a C. And it's not a C sharp because our key signature is the key of G major. No C sharps in here. So here's C. It's right on that first ledger line. Okay, and then first finger on the G string, go from G, which is 0, to first finger, A. Okay. A. And then we just continue. Now, this is going to be a lot easier for some of you than others. You will get better at it. Just like now, you don't have to think so much about your D string notes. Eventually, you will not be having to think about your G string notes. See, I'm even able to mostly talk, mostly, and do this at the same time. Try to make sure that your ledger line is about, and I have varying degrees of success here, you want to try to make it about the same distance apart as your lines of your staff are. And that's why we use pencil, erase, and replace. Okay, and then when we have 2 ledger lines, make sure they're the same. Okay, one cool thing about this violins is that your notes are so low that all the stems are up, so you don't have to worry about that. All right, question 6. Finish drawing the notes of the G major scale and then write the note names below. So I might have to reference question number 7. What is a scale? What is it? What? Okay, this is only like the 10th time you've had to answer this question, so hopefully you have it memorized, but maybe not. A scale is usually a series of 8 notes that go up or down the musical alphabet in a specific order of whole steps and half steps. The lowest and highest notes of the scale are always the same letter name. Okay, so we can do this 2 different ways. And actually, I'm going to do each half of this the other ways, just so you can see. You have, well, there's more than 2 ways to do it. These are the 2 easy ways. There are lots of hard ways to do this. Okay, so we know it's a G major scale. So the starting note and the ending note are going to be the same. And it's a series of 8 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so the starting and the ending note are going to be the same. Okay, so we know it's going to be G. And then it's going to also, we know, go up and down the musical alphabet. So we're just going to write out our musical alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, so A comes after G. And you can also check up here if you can't remember. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Boom. Okay. Now there is one change we have to make because our key signature tells us that we have 1 sharp. And we know that when we've only got 1 sharp, it's going to be an F sharp because F sharp is always first. Okay. So we'll change this F to an F sharp. Okay. So we know we have our note names right. And then we just have to draw the notes themselves. Okay. So my 2 ledger lines, and that was a space note. So here we've got a line note, a space note, a line note, And then, oh, yay, D string notes. We have missed you. You're so easy. Okay, so that's one way to do it, is to figure out what the note names are first. The other way to do it is to draw the notes first, okay? So because we're going up and down the musical alphabet, just right in order, we know that notes go line space, line space, line space, line space, line space, so on and so forth as we move through the alphabet. So if this is a line, we know that the next one down has to be a space. And then the next one down past that is going to be a line. After a line comes a space. Now we're out of lines, so we have to draw a ledger line. So there's a line. And then a space is going to go right underneath that. You do not write the second ledger line underneath. That's not, don't do it. It's just, it would be considered incorrect. Okay, so there's our space note. To get another line note, we're going to have to draw a second ledger line. And then here's our final space note, and we've arrived. So now I'm going to use my mistake here to kind of show you. Do you see that how my ledger lines, maybe you can see, maybe you can't. These ledger lines are a little further apart, so it almost looks like this A and the G are on the same plane, which we don't want them to be because then that gets confusing. So I'm going to tighten up my A ledger lines here just a little so that it's more obvious that the notes are going down. So that's the second way to do it. You can start first with letter names, or you can start first with the notes. They're just going to go line space, line space, line space, line space. That's all they're going to do. And these are just coming right back down the musical alphabet, just like that. G major scale, easy peasy. Again, it's very logical. Please don't make it into something complicated and messy. It just is what it is. I already defined a scale for you, so I will save you having to listen to me say it and write it out one more time. Write in the beats underneath these notes. Be sure to use 1 and 2 and 3 in every measure. Okay, so this is now, oh no, we've had dotted half notes, haven't we? Have we not had dotted half notes? Pause while I'm double checking myself. You know, I don't think we have had dotted half notes. Okay, so we finally get dotted half notes. All you need to know for right now, we'll go into it later. All you need to know is that dotted half notes get 3 beats. And you'll notice that because it takes up the whole measure. Okay? 1 whole beat, half a beat each, and then 1 whole beat here. Ooh, it's another one of these guys. They're called a dotted half note. And I tell kids the way you can remember is dotted half note has 3 words. Dotted half note gets 3 beats. So 1 and 2 and 3 and I promise I will explain later why it only gets 3 beats. Okay, half note. And then 3 quarter notes and a rest. Yay! Okay, so some fun new stuff. We're getting to practice some G string notes now. We will do lots more G string practice, I promise. And it will all start getting much easier.